All right, as men, we hear this all the time. Communication. Communication's so important. This is what women always tell men. You got to communicate with her. And I'm here to give you a different perspective. And to give you this different perspective, I'm going to show you an online dating example I had from start to finish to show you I had no previous experience with her, and we're going to explore, are women actually attracted to men who communicate? So here is the goal of this example I'm going to show you. The purpose of this example is to destroy the myth that men should communicate more to women. Women are not attracted to men that communicate, at least in the way that we're told. It simply lets her know how a man feels about her, which gives her all of the ammo to be able to hold the power over a man. And to any of you guys that have been into a long-term relationship or a marriage where she was using stuff like sex as a reward, she was basically in control and you had to live that like happy wife, happy life mentality. That is because when a woman gets power over a man, she then uses that power to her advantage. So if you communicate like women tell you to, tell her how you feel, tell her your feelings. And when you do that, you literally give her all the power. And when you start out the relationships like that, it never gets better. So let's start here with, she started this, she's the yellow, I am the white or the gray. She said, favorite movie, ? And I responded, of all time? She said, sorry, I meant Disney specifically. And then I said, you get 3 guesses. She guessed Tarzan, The Lion King, Aladdin. And then I didn't respond to that. I don't know, I was busy or whatever. And then she replied again the next day, did I get any right? I said, good guesses, but not my favorite. Need a hint? And then she said, I didn't get any right? That's tough. So in this first little screenshot here, notice the amount of communication. So never give her more communication than she gives you. And what I mean by that is an easy way to check this out in your texting or online dating is check out literally the amount of words, letters, words, whatever she uses. And this falls under principle 2, mirror texting effort. You should not be giving her more words than she's giving you. That's just a very simple way that you can think about communication in this way. You want to communicate with less words than she communicates with you. And the idea about communication, see, I will agree that communication is important to women, but what they tell you is that they want you to tell them how you feel. You communicate with words, really get what's on your mind and get it out in the open so she knows what you're thinking. That's the horrible way to communicate with women. The way you want to communicate with women is she will read your signs, everything you're not saying. That is the communication that's important with women. How long you're taking to respond, how much effort you're putting in. All of these little things are communicating what type of man you are to a woman. So they will never tell you this. They'll tell you it's all about communicate your words, tell her how you feel. That will give them all of the power. So of course they would want you to do that. What you really want to do is you got to get better at communicating subtly with women. Communicating what is not being said is really the important communication. Okay, the next little part of this conversation here, I'm going to read it out and then, I will point out what, is to me the most important part of this. I said, good guesses, but not my favorite. Need a hint. She said, I didn't get any right? That's tough. And then I just responded with think hair. She said Hercules, ? And then she said Tangled with some heart eyes or whatever. And then I said Tangled for sure. Rapunzel is ... heart. Just means I love her. She's, my favorite. She said, I freaking love that movie. And then I said, imagine how fun it is when you play a drinking game watching it. And she said, how have I never thought of that? All right, so here's the really important part in my view. Is that, again, communication that every woman says they want you to tell her how you feel and all that, that's a bunch of garbage. The communication that women always notice, and this is the hardest part for guys that I talk to, is really looking at things on another layer. The communication that is important is everything you're not actually saying. Again, how long are you taking to respond? What kind of effort are you putting in? How are you coming back to her responses? Are you appeasing her, or are you kind of playing your own game? Those are all the things that actually matter to women. The communication under the radar. So it's never as simple as what you actually say. If anyone wants pickup lines, those are garbage. It's all about what you communicate around, everything else around the actual words and the lines you're saying. So right here, when she said, I didn't get any right, that's tough. Okay, that is an example where many times, in the past, you're like, okay, she worked, she tried. Then you just, you can tell her, oh, well, actually, my favorite movie is this, blah, blah, blah. And then, where does the conversation go? I don't know. You just have to keep working. Now, what I've learned over the many, many years of doing this is I reply with something simply like this: think hair. And I'm making her work. This signals, this is communicating that I'm expecting her to continue working and to invest her thought energy into this conversation. I'm giving her a really subtle hint, but I'm expecting her to come back and still guess and to get it right. I'm making her work. So that is the communication. And again, like I just mentioned, it's not about what you're actually saying or texting to her. It's not those actually words, think hair. There's nothing magical about that. It's understanding this whole game and then being able to communicate that you really understand the game based on how you respond. And actually, one other thing here too, at the bottom, 8:57 p.m., when I sent imagine how fun it is when you play a drinking game watching it. All right, there's another thing I'm doing there. I'm communicating. I'm giving her the idea. I'm letting her see the idea. Imagine how fun it is when you play a drinking game watching it. I'm allowing her to imagine this. And now what is she going to do right when she sees that from me? Well, she's going to imagine this movie, Tangled. She's going to imagine me there watching it with her because we're in this conversation, because I made her think differently. And then she's also going to be thinking about a drinking game and having fun drinking and being social with me while watching this. That is, again, it's an advanced form of communication. But again, it's never communicate your feelings and telling her, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, I love spending time with you. That is the type of communication that's absolute crap. Of course, women want you to tell her that, because then she can sit back and pick apart your defense because she knows exactly what's on your mind. It's like if you were a football team and you're the you're a quarterback, and the defense gives you their entire playbook and says, here's the defense we're going to run on you all game long. That quarterback's like, yes, I would love for the defense to tell me what they're running. Yes, that's great. That's what all women are telling guys. Yeah, communicate. Tell her how you feel. Then she, as the quarterback, sits back, knows exactly what defense is going on, and she can manipulate, play her game as much as she wants. She can maneuver the whole field and pick you apart, because you're communicating in the wrong way in that sense. So guys, remember that. It's not about, what you're actually telling her. It's all about the things you're not telling her with communication. And, okay, so then I said, imagine how fun it is when you play a drinking game watching it. And she said, how have I never thought of that? And then she said, the best song to sing along to. And then, I don't know if it was the next day or a couple days later, but then she said, so when are we getting drunk and watching Tangled? And then all I had to do was, when I get back from Arizona, text me, and I sent her my number. There's a lot of things to this, but another thing I always talk about with my principles of texting is I make her show me that she wants to keep the conversation going, and if she doesn't, I don't force it. So, for instance, when she said, how have I never thought of that? Okay, just think, how could I have responded to that? I don't know. Like, what would I have said? Nothing, right? She didn't make it easy for me to respond, so I don't respond. It didn't matter. She sent me another text a minute after. The best song to sing along to. Now, did she ask a question? She assumed that, I was just going to play along and then going to give her what my favorite song to sing along to was and all that stuff. But again, she didn't even give me the question mark to make it easy for me to go, oh, that's a question, I should answer it. So again, guys that are busy, guys that have a lot going on in their life, or guys that have an abundance mindset with women just go, didn't make it easy for me. Nah, I'm not going to play that game. I have better things to do. So then what does she do? The next day or a couple days later, she comes back and says, so when are we getting drunk and watching Tangled? All right, again, I have never met this girl before. This is how I can get a lot of women to just come over without even going on a date first. It's all about how you prepave it. It's all about really understanding the communication game and that you communicate totally different than we're all grown up, taught of how we're supposed to communicate. Again, it's all about what's under the iceberg for women. That little tip of the iceberg you see on the surface, that is nothing. It's all about under it. So when you understand these, all these other things about women, then you can play this secret language with women that becomes very easy, like you're seeing here with me. Yeah, it's a lot to learn. I get it, and I understand that's, there's a lot of guys that don't want to take the time to learn that, and I will never fault you for that. But I am showing you when guys say, the game's broken, it's rigged, all that. It's like, it's tough, but once you have the playbook, again, it's like you being the quarterback, knowing the defense always, and then you can just sit back, relax, and you just pick apart the defense. There's nothing that someone can throw at you that you haven't seen before. So once she establishes you are busy and won't work for her attention, and remember, how does she establish that? It's never if a guy goes, well, I'm busy and I don't work for attention. That's a horrible way to do it, right? Because you're communicating, you're telling her something as opposed to showing her. So again, the communication you want to have with women is the things that are under the radar that she just picks up from communicating with you. It's not what you say. So how does she know I'm busy? Because I take a long time to respond to her. I don't, sit on my phone all day long, texting her back and all that. I don't send long messages. I send short messages. Again, those are all coming together, communicating that I'm busy. Stuff like making her send the question mark, making her send multiple texts before I respond if she doesn't make it easy. That communicates I'm not going to work hard for her attention. I'm not going to be a dancing monkey for her. So that actually makes you stand out as a high-value man because she realizes she actually has to work to get you. And the reason I say this is because there are a lot of guys that just go, hey, man, if you don't have money, you're screwed. If you don't have money, you're screwed. And it's like, again, I tell you guys, I don't have money. That's not something I have. But I can communicate in a way that comes across as very high value. I don't spend my time texting her all day long. So again, that comes across as high value because I'm doing something productive with my time, or she at least doesn't know what I am doing with my time. So this is totally opposite for guys that communicate too much, saying too many words, asking her too many questions, playing that whole game. Remember, that is like you're playing checkers. That's like you trying to play checkers when the game is actually chess. And women know how to play chess in this social game board we're looking at. So the guys that have a really hard time doing this is because guys are looking at it from the straight, like, what do I say? Oh, if she says this to me, how do I, what should I say back to her? It's like, think about it differently. It's the whole map of how you're responding. That's why when I have the mirror texting, that's why that's so important to follow. All of that is showing her, it's communicating with her that you're a high-value man without you having to tell her that. Remember, high-value men are busy and their time is in demand. If you don't show her this with these little things, she will take you for granted and walk all over you. Again, this is why some very cool guys that don't understand, text game or this other form of communication, this is why those guys have a hard time keeping a woman attracted to them long term, or even just getting a date where a girl won't flick out on them. It's all because there's a whole new layer that comes with communicating with women. Anyone that just tells you, yeah, texting's stupid, don't do it, there's no point in texting, it's like, again, just understand, texting is just a medium. It's just a way you communicate. So whether if you know how to do it, you can communicate high value. If you don't know how to do it, you're going to communicate low value. It's just another form of communication that women look at to piece you together is what type of man you would be for her. And then finally, it just shows you, boom, hey, it's Leah. That's when she texts me or whatever. And another really big thing is that the importance of first impressions are everything. And we know this, you guys have heard this before in job interviews. First impressions are big. When you're networking, first impressions are big. If you were to approach a girl in person, first impressions are big. It's just human nature. You make a split judgment of somebody just on your first instinct, because it's just kind of that fight or flight mechanism. If your first instinct, you see a lion running at you, you need to be able to react. So you have this impression in your head when you first see something. It's just part of that fight or flight mechanism. But when you are online dating or you are texting, this is huge. Your first impression is, again, everything you're not saying to her. It's everything you're doing. It's how you're handling yourself through the phone. So if you slip up at all in the beginning, it makes everything else harder in the future. If you start to show her that you like her more than she likes you, just by texting her I get there's a lot of rules to this, guys. I get it. I know. That's why it's really hard for a lot of guys. But I'm telling you, there is a way to understand it and get better at it. And if you are communicating, you're sending her a couple texts, you're saying, hey, how was your day? You're just kind of texting her out of the blue. When you do that, her first impression, right? She doesn't know you yet, so she starts to get this image in her head, and she starts to go, well, this guy's just going to check in on me. Well, this guy is going to send me 2 texts if I don't respond to him. So then she goes, there's no reason I need to respond to him. If I don't feel like responding to him, I'm good. I'll wait. He'll text me again. You know what else happens? When you go to set the date, she goes, well, if I say no to this or if I cancel on him, just like with texting, he'll ask me out again. He'll just keep doing it. So there's no urgency for her to go on that date. So this is why first impressions are so incredibly important, because if you play it well in the beginning, if a girl, by the way, you're texting her, she's like, wow, this guy's busy. He seems cool. He seems like, he's not working for my validation and attention. Then if you set up a date, she goes, okay, this guy's busy. He's cool. I want to go on the date and get to know him in person. I want to see him in person. It makes everything easier. She's going to go, this guy's time isn't a man. If I think about canceling on him, then I might not get another chance. So then she makes sure that she shows up on the date. Everything is better when you start with a good first impression. Again, there's a lot to this, but whether you decide to jump in the game or don't jump in the game, either way, I was hoping that this can shed some light and just kind of give you some more exposure to the game, understand what women are thinking, and to just tell you guys, when you hear that crap about communicating your feelings to her, telling her how you feel, don't fall for that garbage. That is, probably the worst thing you can do, because then she knows exactly how little effort she needs to put in to keep stringing you along. It's just the truth. Anyway, guys, that is online dating to phone number with Lisa. Wait, is that Lisa? No. Oh, Leah. Oops. All right, well, ignore that thing in the top. For those of you in the membership, when you download this, it will say the right thing, Leah. Online dating phone number, Leah. I'm going to change that right now. But yeah, anyway, guys, if you're in the VIP membership, remember, you can download this. If you're not in it and you want to learn the game of dating, that's where I break everything down, just like you're seeing here. I break it down in texting, online dating. I break it down on dates in person, reading her body language, conversation techniques, all of that stuff. If you decide to step in the game, I'm going to teach you how to do it to where you never come off as a beta mon wussy. And if you don't ever decide to get back in the game, I still love you. And keep working on yourself, keep investing in yourself, and keep leveling up your own life. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe.